Hey everyone, Jackson Hayes here. I am back with a second video in a row. Still going at that weekly thing, so that's exciting. It's a lot of work, but I think I can do it. I've returned to my old lighting or A-roll setup. Lighting is different though. I've got like a nice softbox and blue light, which I had in the previous video, but it was a different location where I was filming, just over there. I switched back to this just because it's more dramatic and fun and cinematic or whatever. But yeah, enough chit chat. One thing I wanted to mention though is that I launched my podcast, Creative Aperture. That launched on Monday, and so if you want to check that out, link is right here or in the description. I'm hoping it's on all the platforms like, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Pocket Casts and all that fun stuff, but not sure. I think it is, so I'll say if it is or isn't right here. But yeah, today I wanted to talk about the Apple AirPods. So first of all, a little bit of background. Over the summer, I worked a job at a local motor company where I would do assembly of motors and testing and all this kind of fun stuff, soldering, things like that. And it was very monotonous, repetitive work. And so because of that, they allowed the employees to listen to music, to podcasts, whatever. And over the summer, I listened to so many podcasts, so much music. However, since it was in a warehouse, kind of dangerous environment, I didn't really want dangling cables and stuff. So I decided to pick up AirPods. Kind of use that as an excuse to pick up AirPods, but I did. And I'm quite glad that I did. However, my experience with the AirPods hasn't been all too great. So let's talk about the pros, what's great about the AirPods. And I think by far it's the convenience factor. So, you open it up out of its little case for the first time and it immediately shows up on your iPhone. Click connect, pop them in your ears, you're done. On other Bluetooth things, you turn them on, you turn on pairing mode, you turn this on, you say looking for active devices, you're waiting, oh, and then you click it, and then it's like, oh no, you have to do it again, and you have to try to push it at the same time, all this crazy jazz, whereas the AirPods, it connects immediately. So I think a big part of that convenience factor is the battery life. So like at work, I would be working from 9 to 3 p.m. and around lunchtime, I would take them out, put them in the charging case. They'd be at around 30% each ear. And I'd go eat for about 10 minutes. I'd come back, take them out. They'd already be at like 70, 80% charged. The case itself, I'd only need to charge like once every 3 days, which is incredible. So I think convenience with the battery life, it makes it quite a nice experience. But now let's talk about what I don't really like about the AirPods, and unfortunately, it kind of has to do with that pairing thing. Now, pairing with the iPhone by itself is fine, but when you add a MacBook Pro into the mix, that kind of screws things up. I'll be listening with the headphones on my iPhone, right? And I'll go and click on that little sound output thing on the MacBook Pro's toolbar, and I'll wait, and I'll wait, and I'll wait, and then finally it'll pop up, and I'll click, Jackson's AirPods. And then I'll wait and wait for another 30 seconds and then finally go doo-doo, and then it'll connect. But it's a long waiting process. I think maybe most of it's to blame on the MacBook Pro, but I think since Apple makes all of these products, they should kind of work together. It's this ecosystem idea. And while the ecosystem is kind of there, it's not all there. Additionally, sometimes I'll take them out of the case, pop them in my ears, and then they just won't connect. And so then I have to go into, control panel and long press and 3D touch and then go and select AirPods and then wait and wait and wait. And then finally they'll connect. And sometimes, I'll be like, it still hasn't connected. So I'll swipe down. But for some reason, iOS has this bug where it locks up if it's right in the middle of switching audio. So then it'll stutter in the software. So yeah, it's this weird kind of pairing issues. Most of the time it's fine, but sometimes it's just really annoying. Next, I think the annoying thing is volume control. The only way you can do volume control on these things is by reaching into your pocket and adjusting the volume on your iPhone. Or if you happen to have an Apple Watch, then you can adjust it with the Now Playing thing. I wish you could just kind of swipe on these things to lower the volume. Why they don't have that feature, I don't know. I'm hoping maybe with AirPods 2 that they will bring that sort of feature, but right now it feels like a really weird thing that you can't adjust volume easily. Sound quality on these things is okay, but I wish it was a little bit better. Obviously it is Bluetooth, so sound quality does take a hit as compared to wired, but I just wish that they sounded a little bit better where I could feel comfortable with, mixing audio and stuff on these things, which I don't. Now the final thing that I feel is kind of weird with the AirPods, and I wish that, I don't know, there was some sort of fix for it, but I understand that it's just physics, but as I mentioned before, it's a magnetic case, right? It shuts magnetically with magnets. Magnetically, that's a word. Yeah, shuts magnetically. I'm really tired today, so I'm sorry. So it's magnetic, right? And while I was working at that local motor company, I noticed this a lot where because there's metal shards and like tiny metal dust everywhere, the case would end up picking up that dust. And it remind me of those like science exhibits where you could like do a magnet behind this like glass and it would like pick up the metal shards and stuff. But it's kind of doing that inside the case. And if I don't watch myself, I'll find that a lot of the shards end up getting embedded and squished into the case where I can't like clean it out anymore. It's like literally inside the plastic, embedded, because it just keeps getting shut and like smashed in. If I, check, I can sometimes like wipe off some of it because it's still like sticking out and not quite embedded yet. But yeah, that's really annoying. It doesn't look all too great. But yeah, that's a thing, and I wish it wasn't a thing. So yeah, in closing, I feel like the AirPods are a fantastic product with regards to convenience, battery life, things like that. But I feel like the issues that I've had with pairing, as well as the metal shards in the case thing, makes me feel not as happy with them, and I don't feel like I could give them like, a 5 out of 5 stars. It's more like a 4 out of 5 stars type of thing. It's still a great product, but it has those issues. I feel like no one really talks about, especially the metal shards thing. I've never seen anyone talk about that. And the pairing, I feel like no one really talks about that. I feel like maybe I've seen a few people, but not everyone who has AirPods. So maybe there's something that's weird. I have, reset the AirPods multiple times to try to fix this issue. But yeah, it won't get fixed. So those are my thoughts on the AirPods. It's a little bit of a different video than you might be used to if you've seen AirPod videos before, where everyone's just like, they're so amazing, they're amazing, they're amazing. But yeah, those are my thoughts. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you like cinematic tech videos, hit the subscribe button. Thanks, and I'll see y'all later. Oh, and check out my podcast. Yeah, thanks. Bye.